Hello, Too Cool Stampers. It's Angie here with TooCoolStamping.com, and I'm here with another class. This time, we're doing something a little bit different. I just wanted to play with one more thing from Sale-a-Bration, and so I thought, I know we only have 3 days left of our promotion, and I wanted to just put together a really quick class. So I'm bringing you a mini class, the first of its kind, and I'm thinking I might do more. Just kind of intermix into the other 5 card classes that I normally do. But I wanted to do it right now because there still are only 3 days left, less than 3 now, of Sale-a-Bration. It ends on February 29th. And one of the products we're going to be using for this particular class is from that Sale-a-Bration. Now you'll still be able to get the bundle with the stamp set and the dies for at least the length of the mini catalog. I'm not sure if it will be retiring after that or not, but at least you'll have some extra time to get your hands on that. But if you want the designer series paper that goes with it, you'll have to get that before the end of the promotion. Now, speaking of Sale-a-Bration, if you don't know what it is, and surely you probably do by now, but if you don't, Sale-a-Bration is the annual promotion that they have where you spend either $50 or $100 and select a free item from the flyer. There's also a second flyer now that's called More to Celebrate. You can see both of those linked on my website, TooCoolStamping.com, and see the selection of things that you can pick out for free with either your $50 order or $100 order. Again, it's only through the end of February, so we're running out of time. Be sure to check it out and place your orders before then. Also, there's a couple other promotions happening with Sale-a-Bration. The one that you're not going to want to miss if you really love Stampin' Up! Products or maybe you're just a new stamper and you want to add to your collection and you're going to be placing some bigger orders, you might want to consider joining the Stampin' Up! Team. That means joining Stampin' Up! As well as my Too Cool Stamping team. And they have a special promotion going on right now. So with that, you spend $99 and get a starter kit. For only $99, you're going to get to select up to $125 worth of products. And they're all products of your choice, either anything that's current pretty much. And then you'll also get a glass mat studio, which you can get more information about that on my website, again, TooCoolStamping.com. The glass mat studio gives you it's a 17 by 14 glass mat. You get a little silicone tray that will stick to it, and it's a great place for mixing colors, for adding adhesive, like sponging on adhesive on different project pieces. It also holds little 1-inch ink spots as well. So that's really great. And then my favorite is the Simply Chamois cloth. And mine is well used, but I've loved this even more than the glass mat, and the glass mat is awesome. But I'm hoping that they will have this as an a la carte item at some point because it's just like the Simply Chamois, only it's thinner, and it's just, you run it underwater for 30 seconds and it is ready to go. It cleans up your hands, it cleans up your stamps, it cleans up your work surface, your glass mat, everything. I love it, love it, love it. So that's what I've been using all the time ever since I got my hands on one. So really hope they come out with that as an a la carte item. So, hope that with me. Anyway, all of that is available. Oh, and there's a second option too. If you don't want the glass mat studio, you can select to get $30 in additional product of your choice. So that is also a great option. 2 cool options, right? So again, the end of February is the last chance to get any of those awesome Sale-a-Bration goodies. Okay, let's get to our class. Again, I'm doing 3 cards this time. For those of you who join me quite often, you'll know I usually do 5. We're doing 3 this time. We're having a class kit available. You just need to have a $25 order, so a little bit lower minimum than we typically do. And then I'll have a host code when I turn the camera around. I'll show you that host code. So you'll place that order sometime before next Monday. So this is just a mini class with a shortened time span. I just wanted to play with it, and I thought, well, I might as well share it with you too. So let's turn everything around here, and we can see the class projects or see the bundle and the designer series paper, and then start the class projects. Okay, here we go. All right, let's flip it around and turn some light on here. So, get this, sorry, Get this a little bit more centered. So again, if you are interested in getting your hands on the 3-card kit, then you'll want to place an order sometime before next Monday, which is March 4th, and it'll need to be $25 minimum. Use that host code that you see there, 7TXWDTW7. So you'll use that on the checkout page. All right, something's really weird about this. Sorry, I'm going to try to change it again. It's just a little bit cockeyed and funny. All right, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, let's check out first the bundle. This is called the Trusty Tools Bundle. If you're interested in masculine cards, Father's Day cards, thank you cards for your guide, this is going to be completely perfect. I know a lot of times, at least for me, I really do a lot of flowers and things for women, but I'm always in need of masculine cards for birthdays and things like that. So this is a perfect bundle for that. If you have someone in your life that is a handyman, a fixer-upper, this is going to be perfect theme for them. I love that it has a lot of 2-step stamping going on. You have your pencil with a shader, a fill-in image, your hammer with a little fill-in image for the handle, your crescent wrench and a fill-in for your handle, a paintbrush and a fill-in for the handle, as well as a little paint at the bottom, your tape measure, a fill-in for that, some little screws and nuts there, and then some different greetings that you can use for a lot of different occasions. So I love that set. Of course, they give you lots of different options and possibilities because they have this die set that goes with it. Of course, you're going to get many of the outline images for the dies, but you also get a lot of additional things. Here's another wrench. There's a drill. So you can see right here, little drill that will go on here. So you can die cut a little drill. There's a piece here that can be a label, or you can turn it into a toolbox. Of course, you need the pegboard for that workbench in the garage. There's the little screws and nuts and bolts and everything. So lots of there's some pliers over here, lots and lots of possibilities for die cutting different shapes to put with the other tools. So, and then this is what you get for the bundle. And then for Sale-a-Bration only, this is what is limited just until the end of February, this Trusty Toolbox Designer Series paper. And this is what really makes it all come together, in my opinion. So you have these really cool tools here. Some of them match up with the dies, I believe. I didn't use that, but you can either use the dies if they come with a die that goes with the shape, or you can fussy cut those things and use those. You can use them as a background. They're great for scrapbooking. I love this one because it's just all about tape measure. So you can use parts and pieces to look like a tape measure. I love this one because this just reminds me of my dad's big Craftsman tool chest, right? So perfect for that. And then you have some different hammer patterns on crushed curry, some screwdrivers on this real red, and then another page with a bunch of different, saws and pliers and hammers and wrenches and all kinds of things. So I love that. And then let's look at the back sides. So you have just some graph paper. So of course they need to kind of sketch out their plans for their project, right? You have just some gray, and this almost looks like the floor in your garage almost. So I love that. This is just some more, the heads of screws and nuts and bolts. And then this one, again, with some screws, making a really cool pattern. Here's just another nice coordinating pattern. And then this final one is pegboard to make it kind of look like your tools are hanging up over your workbench. So lots of fun, different patterns and possibilities there. All right, so again, you can get that Trustworthy Tools Designer Series paper. That is a free selection with any $50 order before the end of Sale-a-Bration, February 29th. So you can earn this class kit. You can place a $50 order if you want and get that paper for free. I will tell you that you don't need to have your own pack of paper when you have this class kit. I'm going to give you all the paper that you need to complete the projects. But if you want to, you can play on your own with that paper. So I would highly suggest that you place an order before the end of the month. But it is good. This class kit, again, can be earned until next Monday. So well past the Sale-a-Bration time. Okay, let's get started on our first project. So we're going to start out with Pebbled Path as our card base. This is 7.5 by 5.5, scored at 3 1/4. So a little bit of a shortened card front here. And I had a sneak peek of this on my blog, so some of you might have seen this already. So I have a piece here of 3 by 4 of the Trusty Toolbox Designer Series paper. And I'll put this right at the top. I have another little piece here that's 3 by 1 1/4. And I'm going to butt that right up next to the other paper, like so. And then on the inside, I have my 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece that I'll put on the inside for writing, but I wanted to have something down this edge so that it was showing up in the front. So of course I'm going to use that tape measure. So this is just a 1 inch piece, 1 by 5 1/4. And I think I'll do it this way. I just love that as a little accent. Now you might want to stamp something on the inside, and if you do stamp something, I always recommend stamping it before adhering it to the inside of the card. And I'll show you my finished card when we get, I did stamp something on my sample card, so I'll show you that when I'm done. So here is our card base, our foundation. I just love all that coordinates so well together. Next, I have a die cut from the Stylish Shapes, and it's in basic white. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment on that with Lost Lagoon. So we're going to make this a thank you card, like so. And then I'm just going to start having a little kind of a tool collage going on. So the first thing I did was to die cut a little wrench. So that's going to go here. I'm going to go ahead. If you have some liquid multi-purpose glue, it probably would work the best. I'm just going to put a couple of dabs of seal just to be quick about it. And I'll do it like so. Next, I'm going to stamp some different tools, and we'll use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to stamp let's move this over just a tiny bit. I'm going to stamp a hammer as well as a tape measure, because it has to go with that tape measure down the side, right? So this is just some scrap paper that you're going to get in your kit. Then we're going to stamp the fill-in for that. So I'll start with the tape measure. Let's see. I'm going to do that in Lost Lagoon. And that's just going to go right over the top. And there's also handles, fill-ins for the handle. So I'll do that in crushed curry to match the tape measure. And my hammer is going to have a crushed curry handle. So let's see. I have both of my handles are on one block. I try to save blocks by putting one image on one side and one on the other side. So this is the shorter hammer handle. So we'll put that on there. And the thing I really like about this stamp set, it fills in the color very nicely, but it's important to remember that even if you're a little bit off, let me show you. Even if you're a little bit off on where you stamp the color, you can see in this paper there's little white spaces that it looks like it was stamped a little bit imperfect. So I love that that will all coordinate together when you're using them, and it's just kind of a style. It's a look. So don't get too worried if you don't stamp that filled in part perfectly. All right, next we're going to add some, what to do, here we go. Couldn't find it. Then we're going to color the rest with Stampin' Blend. So I love how you can put this part in with the fill color. And there's also, I made different ones here. This is a hammer that there's a die cut that's just the hammer head. So if you wanted to stamp on, this is gray granite, and then that hammer head is cut out, and you can add that to your full die cut and your stamped handle. So that's one way that you can make your tools. Here's another one with the crescent wrench, and that has a stamped on gray granite. Now I just wanted to use some blends just because I like to color a little bit more than I would like doing the die cutting for that. I like the look of it a little bit better too. So I'm just going to fill in color here. If you want to, you can do a little bit more with shading. This is the light gray granite. And if you wanted to add some darker shading in the dark gray granite, you could. But I'm just going to be quick about it. I'm also going to add a little bit here. So this is kind of like the silver looking part on your tools. And then there's no crushed curry Stampin' Blends, but there is dark daffodil, and it looks very similar to crushed curry. So they look very similar. And of course we need to add a little bit to that tape measure. And I'm actually going to put just a little hint of gray granite right here on the edge. So those are my two stamped pieces, and then I already have some that are die cut and ready to go. You can see on this one I stamped off a little bit, just a little tiny bit off, and there's a little white space there. That's okay. It really just is the look of it's the look of it, so it doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to add this piece to a pre-die cut pebbled path. This is with the deckled circles. I love how the stylish shaped circles and the deckled circles layer so nicely together. So this is going to go right here on our card, and I don't want to have any adhesive right here, so I'm going to do a little 180 flip so I know exactly where to put my adhesive. I'm just using regular seal. You could use Seal Plus or even multi-purpose glue. And then we'll just add that. And then we're going to take our two pieces there. And, oh, before I do that, I wanted to do some stamping. I forgot. And I should have done it before I added it because I have just a little bit of a bump underneath there. So we'll see how it looks. But I wanted to add just a cute little image right here. Not too bad. You'll want to do that before you put it on the front, your card front. So that's in gray granite. And then I'm going to add these two things. I'm going to add one here, and then we'll add this down here. And we'll pop that all up with some dimensionals. You're going to need some mini dimensionals, probably, because the handle is so skinny. You could also use the edge here of your, I think I will do that because it's going to fit on that handle a little bit better. So just cut a little piece here of the edge of your dimensionals, and that will work really well. Or you can use the mini dimensionals. So either way, and we'll pop this one up too. All right, let's add. I'm just loving all the different varieties of tools and how you can make them into a little collage. All right, let's do that. And then I might want a little mini one right here. And we're going to overlap just a tiny bit, or maybe not. Let's see. There we go. That looks good. So there is our card front. Now we just need to add a couple of embellishments. And I always liked adding a little bling, but of course it's a masculine card. So you don't want something too sparkly. You don't want something too frilly and feminine. So I thought it would be good to add one of these. These are great. These are the brushed metallic dots. And there's a color here. It's kind of a greenish color, but I thought it still would look like it would coordinate all right with the pebbled path. So we'll just add that. They kind of look like they're a little screw or something that is out of the toolbox. So I like that little piece of hardware there. So this is the first one. Let me show you the inside. I decorated the inside of my sample here. So the outside, thank you, you are the most awesome. Some more little decorative over here, and then I did a die cut of another wrench, and this is stamped in gray granite and colored in gray granite. So a little bit of fun there. And I like the way I put this over. I overlapped the tape measure, but I made sure that it was under the circle. So it's kind of a fun little surprise underneath. So that's the first card. All right, hope you like it. Let's try our second card. The second card is a fun fold, and it starts with a half sheet of cardstock. It's Cherry Cobbler, 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4 1/4 down the center, and then there's another score, and I flipped the paper over and scored it again here at the 2 1/8 inch. So remember to fold toward the mountain. So whatever side has the bump, that's the mountain. That's going to be the side you fold on toward. And then this other one, I folded upside down so that it would make a little Z fold. So here is our card base, again in Cherry Cobbler. And the inside is going to be a piece of real red. This is 4 by 5 1/4. So a nice little accent kind of coordinating color there. And then I have a piece of the Trusty Toolbox Designer Series paper. This is 5 1/4 by 1 7/8 inch. And that will go in the front right here. All right, so that's our basic card base. Then let's build a little pegboard to hang some of our tools on. So we're going to start with, let me show you again. I have a piece of basic white that I just used this pegboard die, and it almost fits perfectly on there. And let me give you the measurement if I have my ruler. Here we go. So this piece is 2.5 by 3 3/4. And then it has beautiful pegboard holes in it. I love that. So this is so much fun, this die. So that's our first piece. That's going to be layered on a 2 5/8 inch by 3 7/8 inch piece of basic black. Now you might want to use multi-purpose glue, just dab it on just a little bit because your seal adhesive might show through just a little bit, so that's something to think about. What I did, just because I like to go fast, is I just put my fingers, kind of rub over that, and that's gonna peel up any of that extra adhesive that might be showing through. You could also use your adhesive remover if you still have that. They no longer sell that, but you can get that at any craft store. Okay, then we're going to layer that onto some Cherry Cobbler. This time it is a 3 by 4 1/4 inch piece. All right, so this is going to go on the front, and again, just like we did for the other, I'm going to flip it over, kind of line it up so I know how it's going to be centered there, so I know where to put the adhesive, and then flip it back. Like so. All right, let's hang some of those up. So I did the same kind of thing, stamping and adding the shaded handles in that I did on the first card. So the first, let's see, here's a hammer, and this has pecan pie stamped with that fill in and then colored with gray granite. The wrench has real red fill in and colored with gray granite blends markers. And then the paintbrush has a Lost Lagoon fill-in, and then it also has this little tiny sliver of, I don't know if you can see that, a little tiny sliver of an image here that is the paint that goes on the brush tip. So I just made that pecan pie. So I love that it's just stained a little bit. Nobody cleaned that brush out, shame on them. It's never going to be easy to use again. You know how it goes if you're a painter. All right, so we're going to pop those up on our pegboard. And I'm going to start out with my, actually I'll start out in the center. And in the center I want the hammer. And I think I am going to get some more of the edge here. That seemed to work really well for the hammer. And it will work really well for the wrench as well. And then I think a regular dimensional will fit there. And maybe one more mini dimensional in the middle, just so it doesn't sag. Okay, so we're going to put this hammer first. That's going to hang right here at the top, kind of be in the center. Actually, just I'm going to go over just a tiny bit. If I can pull this up. Oh, it really stuck. Just a little bit over. And then I'm going to put the wrench. Those mini ones are kind of hard to get the backing off. They take the whole dimensional off. We're going to put this one up here, and then we'll put the paintbrush on the other side and hang that pointing down, kind of fill in the space. All right. I love it. I love it. Okay. Next, we have just a little piece here of gray granite. This is a 2 by 7/8 inch. And I'm just going to put in one of the other sentiments that says, "You're the most awesome." Just like that. And I might put one little dimensional here on the side. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I'm just going to put some seal on it first and see where it lands. So I'm going to put it about right here. And if you want to, you can have it even going over a little bit farther. And if it's a little too saggy right there, you could put a dimensional under there. I'm just going to leave it, I think. All right, so that's our basic card, and then we're going to add this time for our bling. Again, not too frilly, not too sparkly. These are our classic matte dots, and I thought those would work perfectly because they kind of reminded me of some little pegboard pegs. So I put in one larger one, here's a smaller one, and then one more smaller one. Let's put it down here. So it just looks like there's some random pegs that are hanging there. Now on the inside, you can decorate that however you want to, stamp however you want to, and then I'll show you how, once you get that stamped however you want, you'll put your adhesive on there, and this is how you get it lined up. You're gonna open your card, make sure it's nice and lined up in this area, and then gently close it. And don't push very hard, just so that if it's not right, you can move it. This one turned, oh, uh-oh. I had a little bit of ink on my piercing mat, and so that transferred there. So I'll have to put something else there, but it lined up perfectly. That's how you line it up on the inside. All right, let me show you how I decorated it. Make sure that you have all the ink off your piercing mat because it does transfer onto your cardstock. So here's how I decorated my card. Put Happy Father's Day, and then I made into a die cut. It's just that I had another one that I'd already done that I die cut, so I just put that there. But you could stamp it right on there. You could also take any of the tools from the designer series paper and use those as a little decoration. And you can use those on the outside for the same kind of a layout and have a really quick card that way too. So this is our second card. All right. Our final card is going to start with Lost Lagoon. And it is the 8.5 by 5.5 traditional size. Scored at 4 1/4. I already have a sheet here that is Lost Lagoon, and it's 5 1/4 by 4, and I've embossed it with the Geometric Patterns embossing folder. If you haven't seen that, that's one that kind of got overlooked in the annual catalog, but I loved it for this because it just looked kind of masculine, and it looks kind of like, I don't know, like something that might be on something in the garage. I don't know. There's also an embossing folder called Metal Plate, I think, that would be perfect for this, but I didn't have that. I only had this one. But this one comes with, let me see if I have it close to me. It's actually one of those dual packs. So you have, this one is the one that I used. And then it also comes with this one that has some triangles on it. So Geometric Patterns, it's a 2-pack, and it goes through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine as well. So that's in the annual catalog if you're looking for that. Or you can find anything on the online store as well. So I just embossed the top part. Of course, it's a small embossing folder, so it's only going to go across the top. Before I put that down, I'm going to add a piece of the Trusty Toolbox paper. So this is 5 1/4 by 1.5, I'm sorry. And we'll put that across the bottom. Just leave a little bit showing. And I did that before I put it on there, just in case there's too much of it hanging out. There isn't really that much on this one, but just in case there is, I like to cut it nice and flush. So now I can add this to my card base. And then we will start working on the focal point. This time I have another circle, it's basic white, and I've used the Everyday Details dies to make this particular label. So that's going to be our focal point. I'm going to go ahead and put that down with some seal. And I think I'll put it right there. Then for this one, we're going to make a little toolbox. So we use that die I told you about. So I love this. This can be used just as a label as is. Pretty shape. It has the same kind of holes, kind of the Everyday Details dies do. But it also has in the die set, the Trusty Tools die set, a little handle that makes it into a little toolbox. So that's what we're going to use today. Before we actually put it on the card though, I'm also going to use it as a label, and I'm going to put a sentiment on there. I'm going to start with, this is gray granite that I die cut those with, and I'm going to stamp the word Dad in gray granite. And then we're going to use that "You're the Most Awesome" sentiment again, this time in Memento black, and we'll add that right over here. So kind of an overlap. I thought that was kind of a fun look. All right, now let's start to make our toolbox. So I'm going to put this kind of on our circle like this. Okay, so I'm going to take, you can take some, again, multi-purpose liquid glue. I might do that if I can find some that will work okay. Some of mine are getting kind of cruddy and they're not working, but this one does look like it's working. So we'll use that to put it down just a little bit. You don't need a lot. You don't want it to squish out when you put it down. And then I'm going to kind of position this so I know where, and we'll add this kind of line it right up underneath that embossed texture. So that will be right against the card, and then I'm going to pop this part up with some dimensionals. And just to make it easier for later, I'm going to go against what I usually do and not put dimensionals on the inside so that we can really stick things into the toolbox without worrying about it too much. I might put one down at the bottom. Maybe just a little piece here again of the edge. All right, so there is the bottom of my toolbox. We'll add that right here. And then let's fill it up with some tools. This time, of course, you can do the stamped version that we've already done, but this time I'm gonna just use the Designer Series paper from the Trusty Toolbox. And I already have some pieces here that I have fussy cut out. So when you get your card kit, you're gonna have tools to put in your toolbox, but they may not be necessarily the ones that I have. I'm gonna give every card kit something that has a little bit of Lost Lagoon, something that has a little bit of Real Red, and something that has a little bit of Crushed Curry, or maybe, I can't remember all the different things that they have. Let me see. Pecan pie, that's some other ones. So I was trying to get an idea of all the different things that I had. So I just was cutting out parts and pieces that I could be using on kits. And you'll have to do the fussy cutting or the die cutting if you have the dies, and there's not dies for everything. So I would just assume you're gonna be fussy cutting. But I'll send you 3 different things to put into your toolbox. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes you don't even need the whole tool, obviously, because it's gonna be inside of a toolbox. So this is a cut off piece of plier. This was just on the edge of a piece of Designer Series paper. But you don't need the points if you stick it down this way, and that gives you a nice pop of color. And so if you get a tool that's not all there, it's okay, because you're probably gonna not be using the full tool anyway. So here's how I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna cut some of this one off because this saw is way too long. So this will go in here, and then we'll probably have the red next. So some pliers sticking in there. You can have them sticking in there. However, you know that the tools just get thrown in the toolbox any which way, right? Maybe put this in the center and then have these over on the side. That looks pretty good. So then you're going to put some dimensionals again behind those and really pop them up. So again, yours is going to look different than mine, more than likely, because you'll have different ones to put in there, but I'm going to try to make sure that you have all the different colors that you need to have pop with your card. All right, let's get a couple of mini dimensionals here. And I'm going to skimp on the dimensionals just for time's sake. So maybe I'm going to cut this off just a little bit. It's just a little too long. So let's go like that. And then this will pop over here. A couple of mini dimensionals. You really need the mini dimensionals for this one. Again, I would put many more mini dimensionals on there just to pop it up, but I'm just skimping to save on time right now. And then we'll put that one over here, like so. So we're gonna finish that one off with some more hardware. Here's another masculine type of embellishment. These are the rustic dots. Rustic dots or rustic gems, now I can't remember. And I'm just gonna give you 4, they're either gonna be 4 large or 4 small. The 2 different sizes here, and you can put them on the corners here like little rivets in the toolbox. So there is the final card. I'll show you my other one that I did so you can see this is with some different tools. Have a level and a screwdriver and some pliers. So you'll get whatever tools that I put together, but you're going to have all 3 of those colors to really pop. All right, so those are the 3 cards from our mini card class. So let me put those out here again for you to see. You'll get all the parts and pieces for all 3 of these cards in your card kit. Remember, you need to place the order by next Monday, March 4th. You're going to need to have a minimum of $25 in your order and use that host code on the checkout page. You'll get all the cardstock, all the die cuts, all of the embellishments that you need. If there's anything that is stamped and then die cut, I just give you the scrap paper so that you can do the stamping and die cutting on your own. It's just kind of difficult to stamp on a die cut shape. So, but anything that's already pre-die cut, like the wrench or the circles or the pegboard, things like that, those will all be included. So again, I hope you really enjoyed this class. Remember, if you want that Trusty Toolbox Designer Series paper for free or at all, it's only available during Sale-a-Bration, which ends February 29th. So you just have a few days if you want to earn that for free with a $50 order. Otherwise, you don't need the paper to get to complete these cards. All of your paper, all the pieces are going to be in your kit, so you don't actually need a full pack of paper on your own. It's just fun to play with that paper after you're done, especially when there's so many different tools and different ways that you can display them on your little, pegboard and in your toolbox. So it's fun to play with it on your own. All right, everyone, hope you enjoyed this mini class, and I look forward to having more mini classes in the future as well as my 5 card classes that you're used to. All right, until next time, this is Angie with Too Cool Stamping. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.